Hello YouTube, welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at my custom painted Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Spinister. So to start off, I'm just going to be taking a look at some of the paint apps. A lot of these I've done myself. It wasn't in-depth sort of custom. It was basically just a silver wash. You can see some of it. A lot of it is the standard paint. You'll be able to see more in its robot mode, but quite a lot of it is my own custom painting. You can especially see it on the weapons. So they've got that nice gunmetal grey wash, so that's a nice added bonus. We'll take these weapons off and get a good look at the helicopter mode. I did put a nice wash on the rotor blades there, which does make them pop a lot better rather than it just being standard grey plastic. As you can see a lot of the silver wash. Some of the paint is as standard, like this mark here, this silver on the top, this obviously the blue paint, a lot of the silver lining and that nice blue there, but the rest is my custom paint. You can sort of see it in the light when we take a look there. I think I did an alright job. It's probably one of my first customs, might have been maybe the second or maybe the third, but I think I did an alright job just for a wash. It's a dry brush, so yeah, it just makes the figure pop a little bit more, gives it more of a battle damaged, more active look. It's alright. As for the figure as a whole, it's a nice figure. The transformation's fun, it's unique. The helicopter mode is a little bit, well, it's Cybertronian, isn't it? So it's meant to look more alien, a bit more robotic than a standard Earth helicopter would be. It does have the nice spinning rotor blades there. A little bit of landing gear on the bottom, only that one though, but it sits exactly the same with or without it. But that does give it sort of a nice little feature there just to sit. Spinning blades on the back as standard. That's a round if possibility. You can see his visible hands on the bottom and on the side, but I guess when it's on the side it does an okay job of covering it. I think this whole mode would be a lot better if it wasn't for these arm sections on the side, and maybe these, well, these will become his feet, but I guess they're sort of the weapon pods, I suppose, on the plug them back in. On the helicopter mode, they do look better with the guns in. These weapons are meant to evoke his classic target masters from the original figure. I do think this is only the second time I've got him, other than that older figure. I think it's generation 1, might be generation 2, can't remember off the top of my head. But it does look quite nice. Like I say, these are meant to evoke the target masters, so they are different colours and different shapes. They look cool in robot mode, but not so much here in the vehicle mode, just because they're different colours. It would benefit a lot more from being symmetrical, I feel. One of them's like a laser double rail cannon sort of deal, I suppose. The other side is a double Gatling gun. But they're nice, they're okay. They look a lot better with the wash. We'll take those off and set them down and start away with the transformation once we get them sitting. Yep. So to start off, basically what you want to do is just start to pop everything apart. So we'll start with the arms, pop them out the side, pop them from the shoulders themselves, untab them from themselves just like so. Then we come down to the bottom, untab these two leg sections from the torso, untab these feet sections, bring this one downwards, this one upwards. That'll then loosen everything up in order to start to disassemble and fold everything out. You're going to want to fold these panels that will form the back of his legs. This one will come naturally. This one you're going to need to fold out manually to flip this up. What you then want to do is bring this roof of the helicopter out. This section, which will then form his chest, and this back detail, we'll fold this down, unclip it from itself, fold it up. Not to tab it in yet, just to get everything out of the way, and then fold that up out of the way. You then want to bring this waist section down somewhat, rotate this at the waist so that this screw there is facing the back, and you get that detail there. You then want to rotate this waist sort of leg joint downwards so that the smaller pin is facing the front. This larger pin will then be on the back, just like so. Rotate these the thigh sections to the front so that this silver line, which isn't my personal custom, that is standard on the figure. Face the front there. What you then want to do is bring this foot down and untab it and just sort of have it resting in there like so. Then fold this panel down, fold the landing gear in. This one is a bit more involved and it takes a lot more just sort of footing with it. So you want to fold it in, try and rotate it all the way around to the back and then face it out. That one can be a pain to get all lined up, especially going to and from each mode. This back section, then fold it all the way down, bring this chest section back and pop it through. This will then push this waist section so it is all flush and parallel and level with each other. You then want to fold this back panel in, push it as far as it'll go, because this, I'll show you, this rear sort of thin rotor deal will pass through this section and it will then form the stopping mechanism for these rotors. Then fold the rotors up just like so, and then once everything's pushed in enough, it'll stop these rotors from moving. It's not the best connection, but this back rotor section will stop it. So it just sort of rests like so, like you see, it's a bit wobbly. You can then get them set, T-pose in there for dominance. Just foots with the ankles how you want them. You can make them a bit longer like so, or make them more flat into his bell-bottom jeans, as it were. You then fold these shoulders down, and easy as that, that is his robot mode. Very nice. We'll take a closer look at this head after. You can see those yellow eyes do pop and almost glow, but they are just painted, they aren't light piped or anything. That tail on his visor is really nice as well. That is the figure. As so, he has his weapons, which can be attached to his arm. Each arm like so, and like so. Or you can attach either of them into his fists there, and you can even combine them, as his double target masters did, to have either the blue on the top or the orange. They are the main body of the guns is molded pretty much identical. Obviously it's a little bit different on the detail, but thematically it's exactly the same, so you can have any combination using these pegs on the bottom there. Oops, a daisy. I like to have the blue one on the top because it kind of breaks it up from his arm a little bit more and brings the colour scheme of his legs in a little bit better. So that is the figure in its entirety. Have him just standing. You can get him in some dynamic poses, so you can have his head facing forwards, have him sort of raising his guns, this arm, maybe have a little bit of... So yeah, you can get some nice dynamic poses, even if I'm just standing there. Like you can see, his shadow is quite unique with the massive rotor blades on the spine like that. We'll have a closer look at the detail, and then we'll get down to some articulation. Remove those guns there. You can see, if I move my light to his head and chest section, you can see those eyes really do pop. Like you can see all the entire wash on this. You can see it on the chest, you can see it all over. The more solid grey or gunmetal it would be is not custom. I don't actually think these arms are custom either, if I can remember correctly. They might be though. I don't think they are on the side, but on the front they might be. But it's got some very nice paint even without the custom. This nice yellow there, this tail which brings the head and the face plate in really nice. Just kind of look like one of those masks you're seeing everyone wearing these days. So yeah, he's a nice figure, really is. A quite unique colour scheme. Very very campy and very striking, very cartoonish. Not really very realistic. You wouldn't see a Decepticon like this in real life, I don't think. Or maybe you would. Depends on his orientation, I suppose. But yeah, we'll get down to some articulation there. So to start off, we have the head on a ball joint, so you can get a tiny little bit of tilt there. You get a nice rotation, full 360, like so. It is actually on a hinge, which isn't part of the transformation that I'm aware of, so you can get a nice back and forth sort of nodding motion. This rotor can do whatever you wish. You can have it facing down, and it'll still, if everything's oriented correctly, if you want it facing down, it'll still latch on that little section there. if you have everything pushed in. Well, maybe you won't, but it's supposed to. You can have it resting down there like so if you want. It'll grab it, it'll take it. Fold it back up here just for now. The shoulders, universal joint, so out, 360 all the way around. Bicep, swivel, double joint on the elbow, more for transformation than anything else, but you can get some dynamic posing with it. Wrist swivel, which is nice. Waist has a swivel. If you untransform it slightly and untab this from the back, you can get somewhat of a ab crunch. You do have to futz with it a little bit though, but you can get it about that much from here down to about here if you really want, which is quite nice. You get that. You can then get a very dynamic pose with them if you, well, if you fold this down, but you can get a nice sort of waist forward pose. Maybe it's not as much as that, but if you do it a little bit, you can get a nice dynamic stance there. I'll transform them all back together for the rest of the articulation. Waist swivel, like I said. Thighs, well, it's more the upper leg. Back and forth, complete 180 spread, which is nice. Thigh swivel, knee joint, which can go just after 90. If you untab this panel from the back, you can get more of a tight knee curl there. This side as well, obviously. This side might be, oh no, they actually both fold inwards, so maybe not. This ankle has a whole range of movement. This swivel here on the actual foot itself, a swivel on this inside joint here, some back and forth on both sides. So yeah, very nice. You can get them like that sort of stance, or even bring it forward and point the toe like so. So you can get a lot of nice poses from this guy, it must be said. This one seems to go forward a bit more than this one. I think it's just because of obviously the way they're moulded differently on both sides to transform in. But yeah, you can get some nice poses, like a power punch pose, like so. I'll set him back, get him ready for some final thoughts of the video, get him in a nice sort of neutral pose, attach his guns there to his arm. Oh, one thing must be said, there is obviously, as with Earthrise and the Siege line, there's ports everywhere. There's little holes everywhere for the effect pieces. Not holes, more like ports. The effect pieces all over them, so you can arm them to the teeth or attach some battle damage if you wish. And what we do, we'll get them set, do some final thoughts. So, some final thoughts on this figure. Paint, really nice. Articulation, more than you could ask for, especially for a deluxe. Paint without the custom is very nice. It's decent, it's doable. I did just add the custom just to make them pop that a little bit more. The pink was very pink, and the purple was very purple. And the blue's a nice deep blue, but it's not what I'd want from a figure. Just the two bright colours, I think, detracts from the figure more. He does look good on the shelf, but adding this wash really, I think, does make him look just that little bit more realistic, a little bit more, not premium, but more active, more like an actual Decepticon would look. I'll attach this light just to put his head up, just to make his eyes pop for the duration of this review. There we go, look at that. Yeah, that's a perfect angle. Yeah, very good. Impressed with this guy. Price point's ideal, $16.99 I managed to pick this guy up for, which is standard deluxe price. You might be able to get him on clearance. He's been out for quite a while now, and he does seem to be a bit of a shelf warmer. Not a lot of people pick this guy up, I don't think, because they're not familiar with the character. I must say personally, I wasn't. Oops. I must say personally, I wasn't very familiar with this character, but the paint and the design and the transformation, especially with how it's transformed, and it has these two. So obviously one of the cockpit sections is the cockpit, and the other one just folds underneath the helicopter. I think that's a really cool design choice, giving him this double, almost like cockpit on his legs. I think that's really cool. It's a really nice design choice. But yeah, overall, I would recommend this guy if you've got the money, especially if you can find him on clearance. I did actually walk into a Smith's before the lockdown, and I managed to see one on clearance. I think it was for £10, which is a steal for this guy. He's really tall for a deluxe as well, especially in this Sage line, just because he's not very bulky. A lot of them are quite bulky, whereas this guy isn't. But yeah, definitely recommend. Definitely pick him up if you can. And that's all I've got to say on the guy, really. Once again, thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe just to support my growing channel, or hopefully what will be a growing channel. Leave any comments you can if you want to give me some pointers on the review side of things, or to give me any pointers on what I should review next. That's all I've got to say, other than ask you the question of the day. Today one's a little bit out of left field, not really to do with Transformers, obviously like the Jurassic Park one was. However, I'm actually quite into Pokemon. I'm thinking the next review will be a couple of Pokemon figures I picked up. But I'm going to ask you, what is your guys' favourite Pokemon? Want to think about. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Keep it cool. Thanks, guys.